Hello and welcome to Sunday. It has been quite some time since the last review.
Yeah, it has.
It's been a long time, and there's a lot of reasons for that. We've been busy with a lot of things. We've been out of town. It has interrupted this season terribly. But we finally finished Season 8. So this is...
going to be spoilers for Season 8.
Obviously there will be spoilers for Season 8 and every season prior. This is our Dragon Ball Z Season 8 review. And as a reminder, these are the Funimation Blu-ray boxes, or whatever you call them, sets.
Seasons.
But if you're only interested in the sagas / the episodes, this is the Bobbidi saga and the Majin Buu saga. And also, Season 8. Holy crap.
We're almost done.
We are almost done. There's only one more season of Dragon Ball Z. So that's something. Mal, why don't you give one of your famous Dragon Ball Z recaps?
Oh my god. This season.
Before you do that, why don't you briefly explain how your feelings of the show, where they're at?
I've enjoyed the show, but the length is starting to get me salty. I'm ready to be done with Dragon Ball Z.
As a reminder, we started watching Dragon Ball in August of 2015. That's essentially the only show that we've watched. There was a time where, we watched Rick and Morty.
Yeah.
There was like 12 episodes.
We might have stopped for Bob's Burgers.
Yeah, we did stop briefly for a season of Bob's Burgers, but otherwise, for like over a year now, we've only watched Dragon Ball.
And I've enjoyed it, but I'm very ready to be done.
Yeah, I feel like we probably maybe should have taken a break between Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, or somewhere along the line. But anyway, go ahead. Give us your recap of the events that happened in Season 8.
It starts with, like, halfway through the tournament, when Goku gets knocked down, and they're like, oh, we gotta go get these guys, because they're going to lead us somewhere, right?
Yeah, that's technically the end of the last season, but, like, Gohan is, like, powering up, and they're, like, going to steal the energy.
Yeah. And then they run off with it.
Two weird guys, they have M's on their forehead, and they run away. So that's where this starts.
Okay, so they're running away, and they're getting chased down by the Supreme Kai, who reveals himself, like, to be the Supreme Kai. And, what's his buddy? Kibito. I was gonna say Deborah, but that's someone else. And they're like, oh, we gotta go! And so they dash off with Goku, and then Gohan's revived by Kibito, and then they go off, and Fidel goes for some reason. And they're going, and they're like, okay, this is the story. So once, a long time ago, there was this guy named Bobbidi. And... Bibbidi. And, like... He made this monster, and the monster's name is Buu. And, they're trying to revive it, and we gotta go. We haven't been able to find him, but we're gonna go find him. Because these guys are gonna lead us there.
Yeah.
So they lead him there, and, they use the energy they stole from Gohan and they put it into Boo's egg thing. And they're like, oh wait, someone's watching us. So, Deborah's there, who's like this demon king that's on...
I think at one point they say he's literally the king of hell or something. Which is bizarre to me. Mm-hmm. Why he's under the control of whatever. So the king of hell is there. So,
Bibbidi, Bobbidi, and Boo's egg. Well, one's dead, so it's the...
Bibbidi was the father, I think.
Which.
I think Bobbidi is the one who is the main guy.
That's here and alive.
And I think it was his father who was Bibbidi.
Okay. I forget.
Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Well, Deborah goes after all the Z fighters. Oh yeah, Krillin and
Piccolo.
Piccolo are there, and Deborah kills Kibito, like straight outright, and then spits on Krillin and Piccolo and turns them to stone.
Yeah, his spit can turn people to stone.
No, don't knock them over. Don't touch them because they'll kill them. We have to kill Demon King and then they'll come back.
Yes.
So, they decide to, like, go into the spaceship where Boo is, like, egg is, and then that's where Deborah and Bobbidi retreated to.
Bobbidi lets them come into the spaceship because it will, if they're in the spaceship,
it will take their energy.
Yeah, it can sap the energy when they fight to fuel the hatching of Majin Buu.
So they're going through these levels, and I'm like, oh, what a way to extend it. There's 4 levels or 3 levels, and so they go to the first level, and it's Vegeta now and Goku and Gohan.
And Supreme Kai.
And Supreme Kai, who just basically yells a lot and is really confused. And they're like, who's going to fight the first floor monster? And they play rock, paper, scissors, and Vegeta wins. So Vegeta fights him, and I forget who it is, but he takes him out, no problem.
Yep.
And then they go to the second floor, and Supreme Kai's like, no way! How'd you guys do that? You shouldn't be able to do that. This is so dangerous.
Yeah, Supreme Kai just in general surprised me, because at the beginning, when we saw him at the end of last season, it was like, oh, okay, this is gonna be like big dude. And now he's really weak compared to everyone. It's like, how did you do that? I rule the universe. How did you punch so hard? Anyway.
So they go to the second floor, and Goku has that one.
Yep.
And it's some monster thing that can, like, eat light, and it makes energy.
Yep.
And Goku's like, oh, I'm Super Saiyan. But then he's like, I'm eating your light energy, and takes it.
I'm eating your superness.
Mm-hmm. Your superness. So Goku decides it's best if he feeds him too much superness, and then he blows up. You can't make this up. This is what happens. It gets better.
This is... I will interject that this is the most bizarre season.
Oh my god.
It's. I think it, like, objectively, there are more crazy things that happen...
Oh my god.
...in this season than any other season.
Yeah.
But anyway, go ahead.
Okay, so then they go to the third one, and Deborah's like, don't worry, Master. I got this one. I'm gonna fight Gohan. So he starts fighting Gohan, but the whole time, Vegeta's like, God, you suck. I could do this. We should just take him out. And then Deborah's like, oh, I can do this. Or Deborah's like, wait.
Deborah wants to tell Bobbidi.
He's like, if we just convert Vegeta to our side, he'll take care of it.
Him to our religion.
Yeah. Meanwhile, like, it keeps cutting back to the tournament. And, like, the people that are left are, like, no one important.
It's like Android 18 and two guys and Mr. Satan and Goten and Trunks on each other's shoulders.
Yeah. It's like, that's all that's left.
Yeah.
So Mr. Satan's like, oh, how am I gonna do this? Because, you know, he's actually just a big wuss. He's like, we should have a battle royale. And he's like, wait, that's a bad idea. But everyone heard him, and they're like, yeah, that's a great idea. So they hold a battle royale, and the two nothings get thrown aside pretty quickly.
The two nothings.
And then Android and Goten and Trunks fight, and she realizes who it is. So she basically unmasks them, and they're disqualified.
Mm-hmm.
So, does she Mr. Satan fight a little bit, or no?
No, she knows that she'd, like, kill him.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know if they, like, fought at all.
I don't think they really fight. I think she just...
is like, hey, if you give me double the prize money, I'll let you win. He's like, oh, that's a good idea, because I can't win.
Correct.
So he decides to do that, and she's like, alright, now hit me really hard. And he, like, barely touches her. And she's like, that was all you had? And he's like, yeah. So she, like, pretends to, like, fly backwards out of the ring, even though she had, like, froze for a minute. So, he wins the tournament.
Yep.
And then it, like, cuts back.
Yeah, also, whenever Goten and Trunks are found out, they fly off.
Yeah, they leave.
And they head towards where the action was.
And they find Fidel, and Fidel's like, this is what's going on, because she was sent back, because they're like, you're too weak, go home.
Yeah.
And she's like, there's a big monster. I'm going back. And they're like, we gotta find that monster. I want to see that monster. We can take that monster. So they go search for the monster.
There's so much stuff that happens in this season.
There is.
So, in the meantime...
Yeah.
Deborah comes back out, and then they just, like, take over Vegeta.
Yeah, it's like a spell or something.
And Vegeta lets it happen.
Yeah.
Which is a key point. Like, he understands that he'll get stronger, so he just lets his body be overtaken by Bobbidi. Mm-hmm. So that happens, and then...
And all he wants to do is fight Goku.
Yeah, because at that point, like, he's supposed to fight Goku. I know at some point he goes to the stadium. They're warped to the stadium, and he starts killing. He starts killing innocent people at the stadium where Mr. Satan has just been declared the victor, and he does that because he just wants Goku to fight him. Mm-hmm. And I think Bobbidi's okay with them fighting because I guess he gets the juice from
the energy, yeah,
or whatever. So eventually Goku agrees to fight.
If only they're, like, out in the middle of nowhere.
If they're far away from people, and then they fight. And they're like they're pretty evenly matched.
Yeah. But Supreme Kai and Gohan are like, well, you know, we're screwed. Let's just keep going. So they, like, get through the floor and go down.
Okay.
And then, they get to where, you know, Deborah and Bobbidi are in the egg.
Yeah, and then, is that when the egg hatches?
Yeah, because Goku and Vegeta have been fighting, so Goku's been losing energy and it's been sucked up.
Yeah. So then the egg hatches, and then after the egg hatches and Majin Buu comes out, then Goku and Vegeta realize, oh god, this guy's way stronger than we thought. Mm-hmm. And then Vegeta knocks Goku out because Vegeta wants to fight him himself. Mm-hmm. So that's exciting. And then Majin Buu, like, attacks Supreme Kai and Gohan?
Yeah.
Kind of?
And at some point Deborah is, like, hurt, but then, like, he takes one last hit at Buu. But Boo's like, "You dead now, ha!" and kills him.
Oh yeah, Majin Buu is a child.
Yeah.
Okay. Majin Buu is the very different villain from what we've had previous. So he comes out and he's very childlike, very infantile, but he can kill everyone really easily.
Yeah.
So he kills. He badly injures Supreme Kai, Gohan. He kills Deborah, which brings back Piccolo and Krillin.
Yeah.
And then Vegeta shows up.
And Goten and Trunks are there, hiding in the mountains, and they're like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah, because Buu beats the crap out of Vegeta.
Yeah.
Basically, and then Trunks comes to his rescue. Mm-hmm. And then Vegeta decides that he's going to kill himself in order to save everyone.
He's going to sacrifice himself.
So it's like a big turning point in his character because he is making a sacrifice, which he has never done.
So he knocks out Goten and Trunks.
Yep.
He's like, "Trunks, I'm so proud of you, whack." And then Goten's like, "No, why would you do that?" And he's like, whack. So both boys are out. And he's like, "You, green monster."
Green.
I don't even think he calls him Piccolo. He's just
Green
like,
man.
"You, take care of them." And then he flies off with the boys, and Vegeta basically Super Saiyans himself into a big explosion.
Yep. And he kills Majin Buu. And then that's it. That's the end of Season 8. We did it.
No. It gets more crazy.
So after the explosion, Majin Buu is blown into a bajillion tiny bits.
And Piccolo's like, "I gotta go find out. Krillin, you take the boys." And so Piccolo goes back and looks, and, like, Buu is, like, a bunch of little blobs of pink, and then they all combine back into Buu again.
Yeah, Buu has regenerative capabilities, which makes him fairly invincible.
Yeah.
So he just keeps regenerating over and over again. So he regenerates, Piccolo's like, "That's not good."
And he runs away, and he's like, "Krillin, we gotta go."
And then, do they all go to the lookout?
No, not yet. They go to, like, Bulma's parents or something.
I think they go to the lookout. I think Bulma don't on their own, Bulma and Yamcha and Roshi and all of them, and Chi-Chi, and Ox King, and Puar, and Oolong.
Puar. They're like, "Something's bad."
Yeah, something doesn't feel... Android 18.
Yeah.
And
so they all get in
Krillin's kid, who are they ever named? It's Marin.
Marin.
That's right. Anyway, so they take all of those people.
And they're like, "We gotta go find the Dragon Balls."
They just on their own decide that they should find the Dragon Balls.
So
which
they
is
do.
Bizarre, but...
And they go to Bulma's parents then with the Dragon Balls, and they call forth Shenron. Remember, Shenron can do 2 wishes now. And they're like...
Because Dende.
Yeah, because Dende.
Because Dende.
So they're like, "Alright, first wish." And they're like, "Let's bring back all the people that have been killed today." So everyone comes back.
But in the meantime... Goku has recovered and went up to the lookout with everyone.
Yes.
Because they were discussing, like, man, what we should do is we should not call Shenron. And then they're standing around and they're like, "What's that?" And they're like, "Oh god, it's Shenron." So then Goku has to quickly get to the people.
I mean, he
Bulma,
can teleport.
He teleports to them and it's like, "Yo, Shenron, don't
Hey, thanks for your time. We'll see you in 4 months." Because apparently if you save your second wish... You don't have to wait a year, you can wait 4 months.
There's a rule!
There's a rule!
There's some rules, and Dende knows them. Dende's like, "Actually, let me get out the Dragon's Handbook here." So yeah, that happened.
And then they were like, "We gotta take everyone to the lookout to be safe." So they take everyone.
Except Bulma's parents.
Except Bulma's parents, who are like, "No, we got stuff to do. If they kill us, don't worry about it."
"You can just bring us back with the Dragon Balls, Bulma."
"Okay, dear."
Did you want some sandwiches? Anyway, so that happens.
Goes to the lookout.
They go to the lookout. Remember, all of this is happening in one day. Because Goku could only has 24 hours to be away from Otherworld from last season. He's only ever spent how much time with Goten? Like a few minutes. So he gets up there, and they're trying to figure out how to beat
Majin Buu.
Majin Buu. They have to reveal to everyone that Gohan and Vegeta are dead.
But because Shenron and the Wish were made, not Deborah, Kibito comes back.
Kibito comes back.
And he's like, I have to find the Kai. So he finds Supreme Kai and heals him.
And then they find Gohan.
But we have to go find Gohan. So they find Gohan.
Because Gohan didn't actually die.
No, he's just passed out somewhere, like, almost dead.
And then they take him to
Kai's planet.
The Kai planet, which is a bajillion miles away and has a legendary sword in a rock.
Mm-hmm. So, just like Sword in the Stone, Supreme Kai's like, I haven't been able to pull it. Kibito hasn't pulled it. No one's been able to pull the sword, but it's legendary. It could probably kill Majin Buu. So
the legendary can probably kill Majin Buu sword.
So Gohan pulls the sword, obviously.
And while that's happening, we keep jumping back and forth between that and
the lookout.
And the lookout, where Goku, while on Otherworld, has learned this fusion technique, which allows two people to fuse into one being, where they're much more powerful. And he tells
Trunks and
Goten that they need to learn how to do that. So he's trying to teach them, and there's a bunch of embarrassment between him and like Piccolo, where they're trying to show them how to do this thing. But meanwhile, on the Kai planet. Oh, wait, meanwhile, Majin Buu kills Bobbidi.
Yeah. That
happens. Eventually he
No, it was after.
After what?
Bobidi's, like, doing this telepathic thing, telling everyone, like, there's these two boys.
That's right,
we need to kill them.
This is such a complicated season.
Everyone, we won't hurt any more people, but
we're only looking
a lie.
Yeah, we're only looking for Goten, Trunks, and Piccolo.
Uh-huh.
And then...
Through other people, they find out that Trunks is, Bulma's son, and Bulma is part of Capsule Corps.
He's a part of that family, and he lives at Capsule Corps, so they decide they're going to go to West City and destroy Capsule Corps. And then in the lookout, everyone's like, oh god, the Dragon Radar will be necessary to recollect the balls that you just collected because you wasted them. So then...
But if he destroys it, it'll be gone.
So then Trunks has to go fly to Capsule Corp, even though Goku knows instant transmission. Which is weird. But he could have just went to see Dr. Brief, but whatever. To
distract Majin Buu, Goku's like, I'll instant transmission there and fight him for a bit.
So he goes to fight Majin Buu. He turns into the legendary Super Saiyan 3, which is just a lot more hair and a forehead that juts forward even further.
And he tells Buu, he's like, I don't know why you keep him around. He just bosses you around.
There's like several episodes of Trunks like trying to find the Dragon Radar before Bulma's like, oh, I left the keys in my Trans Am, and then Trunks is like, oh my god, it's in the car, and then Dr. Brief's like, we don't have a car, maybe it's one of these capsules. It's like goes on forever, and then after all of that, they get the Dragon Radar. Goku leaves. And then Majin Buu is like, you're right, Bobbidi sucks. And then he punches his head off.
Yes, that's what happens.
Which was really satisfying and fun. And then after that happens, Goku runs out of time.
Yes.
Then when he checks in, he detects Gohan, realizes Gohan's alive, transports to Gohan.
Because he's allowed to.
And then after he does that, he winds up on the Kai's planet, where Gohan is still training with the sword. And then they start throwing rocks
at the sword, and he tries to cut him to see if it's strong.
Yes. And that's when Supreme Kai's like, oh, why don't we use the hardest substance in the universe to test how strong the sword is? So they make a big cube of Kachin or something. They throw it, the sword breaks. But then we learned that the sword actually was made to hold one of Supreme Kai's ancient relatives from like 15 generations ago, Old Kai. So then Old Kai comes out and he dances to try and unleash Gohan's secret powers.
Sleeping powers.
And then
Goku's like, alright son, you have fun with that, I'm gonna nap.
Meanwhile, at the lookout, the boys learn fusion after a few failed attempts. They become Go-Tanks. They go attempt to beat Majin Buu. It doesn't work. They come back. They turn into Super Saiyan Go-Tanks. And then they go, I guess, attempt again. We haven't gotten that far.
Well, they go and they get there and then they lose the transformation.
Yeah,
and
that's
they're like,
right.
oh shoot, and then they leave.
That's right. And then,
so that's those things kind of racked up for the season.
And then the very last thing is...
Well, Boo's flying around by himself, just turning people to candy and whatever.
Yeah, we didn't even mention that, but that's all... He's got a big dong on the top of his head, and it's a candy dong, and he points his dong at people, and he turns them into candy or chocolate. That's his thing. Mm-hmm. He's a dong monster, I don't know.
So, at some point, there's like this blind kid walking on a path, and he's like, I'm gonna kill you, or whatever. And the kid's like, oh. And Boo realizes that kid's blind and he can't see him. So he heals the kid
so he can see him.
Boo and then be scared so Boo can then kill him.
Yes.
And the kid's just thankful. And I was like, watch. I said, Boo's gonna be like so overjoyed that, oh, this is how it feels to help people, and he's gonna turn around. Steven laughed.
So then
he kills some more people, and then he makes a house.
There's a scene where Majin Buu forms a house, and then
all the people of the world are like, you know who could save us? Who saved us with Cell?
Mr. Satan.
Mr. Satan. So they go to Mr. Satan, who apparently has been training, and he's like, yeah, I'll take care of this. So he goes to Boo's house. Yeah,
and he's got all these plans for to blow him up or whatever, and then he realizes...
Wile E. Coyote.
It really is. It really is like Wile E. Coyote. He realizes he can't kill him, and then he starts to befriend him.
Like, oh, we got these chocolates, but they're laced with arsenic, but it won't kill Boo, and Boo doesn't know. And Boo's like, oh, you gave me candy. And he's like, let's take a picture together. We're friends.
And then at some point, Boo goes to kill everything again. He comes back with a puppy, and he's like, I found this puppy, but it's not running away. And Mr. Satan's like, well, it's because its leg's broken. So he heals the dog so it'll then run away.
Yes, but the dog's like, oh, fun.
So then Mr. Satan's like, you could just play with it. And then Mr. Satan's like, why do you kill everything? And Majin Buu's like, because I was told to. He's like, well, why don't you just not do that? And then Majin Buu's like, okay.
Is it bad that happens? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, okay, I won't kill anymore.
And that's how the season ends. And the episode was called I Will Kill No More.
Well, there's the one thing.
What?
The puppy.
Oh, yeah.
And then it ends.
There's some bad guys that are driving around shooting everyone because the world's ending, and then they kill the dog. And it ends with Majin Buu experiencing the loss for the first time for himself.
Yeah.
Seeing the dog die and be like, so then we have to wonder what happens next season. Is he going to lose his mind, or is he going to come to terms with that?
So basically, to sum it all up, imagine a ball of yarn that got taken over.
A ball of yarn?
Not taken over. That got destroyed by some kittens. You're trying to untangle the yarn. That is this season.
Oh, I thought you were saying that Majin Buu was like a ball of yarn. I was like, that's a terrible analogy.
I'm saying the plot here.
Well, here's what I think. And you are free to disagree, and I know that you are, at this point, we've been watching Dragon Ball for like a year, and I understand this has been going a long time, so you're probably a little salty about the amount of time we've been watching Dragon Ball. Although, also, we're right at the end, so I'm just like, oh my god, we're going to get to the end. I actually feel, you can disagree, I feel like this was one of the most fun to watch, interesting seasons of Dragon Ball, period.
I mean, I'd probably feel that way if I wasn't so burnt out on it.
I really like Season 7 because it's so wacky and fun. Yeah. Season 8 is fun for a completely different reason. The first bit, I don't know, the first disc is not good. The first disc of, let's go stand around and watch this spaceship. Oh, we have to go down 4 floors. Oh, we gotta do... that is all terrible. The second Majin Buu comes on the scene, the season becomes one of my favorite seasons. It really does, because...
Yeah, I could agree with that.
I think that Majin Buu is exactly what the series needed at this point. Because you've had Frieza, you've had Cell, you've had these big... You had the Saiyans before that, you have we're bad dudes. You needed this comic relief of a villain, and it's perfect timing to bring him on the scene.
Yes.
I I think that he is exactly what the series needed at this point. So I've really enjoyed it. I mean, it's such a different style from everything else. And one of the things we had talked about while watching is that it reminds me, in some ways, of Toriyama's other works with the crazy girl, Arale, because that world is crazy, and they had the weird crossover in Dragon Ball. But like Majin Buu feels like he stepped out of that world. Mm-hmm. But it's weird because you have this contrast of this infant-like state with also, he's like, I'm gonna go kill now. He's like, I like killing people. Like, it's just, there's a huge contrast, and it's funny. And it's so weird to see that creature, which feels like it stepped out of a completely different show, fighting someone like Vegeta.
Yeah.
Who was like, I hate this marshmallow man. Or like, it's just, it's really ridiculous. So, but this is by far the wackiest season because there's so many different crazy things happening. For one, you've got Majin Buu, who is just an oddity in and of itself. Mm-hmm. A chewing gum monster who uses his head penis to turn people into chocolate. Like, that alone could have been a crazy element. Then, on top of that, you've got the fact that I think it should be noted that this is all, the entire season takes place in one day. Mm-hmm. The entire season is like 1 day's worth of stuff, which I'm pretty sure there's more than like 24 episodes, so it's impossible. I don't even know how they get away with that. Then you've got Goku unveiling Super Saiyan 3, mm-hmm. So that's like a huge big thing. Then you've got Goku teaching them
fusion.
They're teaching them the fusion dance, which is wacky. So you see this, Goku's passing the torch. He passed the torch to Gohan. Now the torch is getting passed again to Goten and Trunks. And then you've got Gohan in another dimension working with the Kais to wield a sword, which turns out to not even matter because the sword gets broken. And like at some point all of the characters are together again in the Lookout, you mm-hmm. know, like all of the characters from the entire show. So except Tien and Chaozu,
who it flashes to at some point randomly.
When Goku turns Super Saiyan 3, it flashes to them and they're like, whoa. And, you know, part of me wondered, like, why didn't they get to the Lookout? But also, there was a line of dialogue that mentioned them at some point in the season. I don't remember what. But it was like, you know, Tien and Chaozu, like, didn't want to join us or something. But the reason is they are not as powerful as anyone else. Yeah. And it would just be harder for Toriyama to try and include them.
Yeah, and have a line of dialogue or something. I
mean, like, Tien did some stuff in the Cell Saga, mm-hmm. but he was useless. Mm-hmm. So now it's the same thing. Even though occasionally we get glimpses of them training somewhere. So, but overall thoughts about the season?
I mean, it was good.
I mean,
it was a good season.
You're ready to be done.
It's just long.
You're very ready to be done, and I understand that. But I actually really like the season. There's actually quite a few people that really dislike the whole Majin Buu stuff. Mm-hmm. A lot of people say to stop watching Dragon Ball Z at the end of the Cell Saga. They said it's a good ending. Yeah. Stop watching. Mm-hmm. Which you could argue for the end of the Frieza Saga, too. Mm-hmm. It's a good ending, stop watching. In both of them, Goku is gone. The show is best when Goku's not around. But I disagree. I actually really enjoyed this. I think Majin Buu is probably one of my favorite characters. I think he's just really fun to see the way he reacts to everything. Because he's basically a child. Yeah. Anyway. So, Mallory.
Yes.
We're getting ready to go into Season 9. The final season of Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
Although not the final season of the franchise. What do you think is going to happen?
I don't know. Because I don't know if Boo is going to be sad or angry after the puppy got
There is so much more crazy stuff. Like, if you thought Season 8 was nutso, just wait, because Season 9 is going to be a similar roller coaster. I know, like I said, I haven't seen any of this stuff. This stuff is new to me, but I'm familiar with the events that happens, and I know some of the stuff that I was looking for happened in Season 8, but there's also some stuff that didn't happen, and I'm like, okay, so it must happen in Season 9, so Season 9 is going to be a whirlwind of fun. People have wanted to know if we were going to continue into GT. We are not. For now. At some point I would like to come back and watch GT. I'd also like to catch... I don't want to watch all the Dragon Ball movies, but I really want to watch, at some point, Battle of the Gods and Resurrection F, because they're apparently really, really great. They were the ones that launched in theaters here, and they're apparently really funny and good. And then maybe one day, when Super is localized, then we might watch that. But yeah, one more season of Dragon Ball Z, and then we're probably going to take a break from the universe of Dragon Ball.
Good.
I think you'd be happy about that.
Yes.
That's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. Talk about Season 8 and below, or just Season 8, whatever you want. Keep it spoiler-free from Season 9. We're going to be going into that. I think Season 9 is the longest season of Dragon Ball Z. But then it's all done. It's all wrapped up. And we will have watched straight through Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, which is like over 500 episodes of an anime. It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot. But now, you'll be able to tell people that you saw it.
Who's gonna ask?
Someone might, and then you'll say, yeah, I saw it. You never know. Thanks for watching, and as always, let's be back tomorrow, shall we?